Picture this. It's 3:12 a.m. Your throat is burning. Your chest is tight. Your body is drenched in sweat like you just ran a race, except you haven't moved. You're in a hospital bed. A machine is clicking beside you. A bag of poison is dripping into your veins, and the only thing louder than the pump is the voice in your head. Most men think discipline is a gym trend, but in that room, discipline is the line between becoming a man or dying as an excuse. And here's why I'm telling you this. There's a man who was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in his 20s. The doctor gave him an 85% chance he wouldn't live 5 years. He's still alive, 20 years later. And for years, he ran at least 1 mile every single day. Not because he felt good, not because he was healthy, not because he was guaranteed tomorrow. He ran because he made a pact, a daily pact with himself. And today I'm going to ask you a question that might offend you. If a man with tumors in his body can keep a promise to himself, what exactly is your excuse? This isn't a cancer story, this is an identity story. Because life will take things from you: strength, energy, money, time, comfort, even people. And when it does, the only thing that matters is what you built inside. Most men don't break because they had a bad day. They break because they never built a core. They never built a non-negotiable. They never built an identity that holds when life squeezes. So let's talk about that pact. He didn't set some flashy goal. He didn't say, "I'm going to run 100 miles." He didn't say, "I'm going to become famous." He didn't say, "I'm going to prove everyone wrong." He said something simple: "I will run at least 1 mile every day until I die." Until I die. Not until it's easy, not until I'm motivated, not until my body cooperates, not until my schedule clears. Until I die. That's not fitness. That's a man choosing who he is. And you need to understand what that means. Because most of you are living as potential. Potential father, potential provider, potential leader, potential disciplined man. But potential is a fantasy if you don't have a pact. A pact turns potential into identity. Identity turns plans into outcomes. And outcomes turn your life into something you respect. Here's what the hospital teaches you if you ever end up there. It strips you. It takes away your performance, your image, your swagger, your social mask. You're not the funny guy. You're not the strong guy. You're not the talented guy. You're not the cool guy. You're a body in a bed. And the only thing left is the voice. That voice that says, quit, cope, scroll, escape, start tomorrow. That voice has ruined more lives than any enemy ever will. Because it talks in your own language. It sounds reasonable. It sounds tired. It sounds like self-care. But most of the time, it's just weakness trying to negotiate. And this man, while poison was being pumped into him, realized something brutal. A big part of his identity was built on temporary things. Athletic, temporary. Strong, temporary. Hair, temporary. Energy, temporary. Control, temporary. All of that can disappear in a season. So he anchored himself to what couldn't be stolen: a promise, a daily action, a pact. 1 mile, every day. Let me bring this home. Your life doesn't have to get as dramatic as cancer to strip you. A job loss can strip you. A marriage crisis can strip you. A financial hit can strip you. A relapse can strip you. A season of depression can strip you. And when it happens, you find out if you built identity or if you built decoration. Because a lot of men call it confidence when it's really just comfort. And the moment comfort leaves, the man disappears. That's why this story matters. Because this man's body was fighting all the time. He couldn't show you what his lungs looked like. He couldn't show you the damaged organs. He couldn't show you the tumors. But he could show you this: he still showed up. Every day. And that's the lesson. Show up. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Now listen, I'm not telling you to run a mile. I'm telling you to pick your mile. Because every man needs one. A daily non-negotiable that proves you're not owned by your mood. It could be 20 minutes of training, 30 minutes of deep work, a strict wake-up time, a prayer routine, a journaling discipline, a reading block, a no junk food boundary, a budget check, a phone-off hour. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is this: it's small enough to do even on bad days, and sacred enough that you don't negotiate with it. Because negotiation is where men die, not physical death, identity death. You negotiate for a week, then a month, then a year, and one day you wake up and you don't recognize yourself. This man had recurrence after recurrence. 2004, stage 4. 2011, cancer in his spine. 2020, more tumors, more chemo, more hair loss, and still, he kept the pact. He would go see doctors and they'd ask him if he was struggling with stairs, and he'd tell them, "I ran 7 miles this morning." That's not a flex. That's a warning to every man listening. Your body can be weak, and your identity can still be strong. Most of you have healthy bodies and weak identities. That's upside down. Now here's the part that separates men from boys. He didn't deny reality. He didn't pretend he wasn't sick. He didn't fake optimism. He said, "I don't deny the prognosis." But he refused to live inside fear. He refused to spend the entire day rehearsing his funeral. And you need to hear that. Because some of you are alive, but you're living like you're already dead. You wake up, and the first thing you do is feed the fear. News, doom scrolling, comparison, regret, what ifs. Then you wonder why you have no fire. Fear eats your future before it happens. And discipline is how you take it back. So let me give you the Rewired reality framework. Simple, hard, and executable. 4 rules. Not theory, action. Rule 1, make the pact small, not impressive. Most men fail because their goals are built for ego, not consistency. A pact is not a highlight reel. A pact is a daily brick. 1 mile, 1 page, 1 rep, 1 hour. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to become someone. Rule 2, protect the pact from your feelings. Your feelings are weather. They change daily. If your identity depends on weather, you're finished. You keep the pact on the good days, and you keep it on the days you feel like a fraud, because the pact is what turns I feel into I am. Rule 3, when life strips you, don't rebuild your image, rebuild your core. Most men, when they get embarrassed or humbled, try to look strong again. They post, they brag, they chase validation. A man rebuilds differently. He goes quiet. He goes consistent. He goes deep. He builds character where nobody sees it. That's what holds when everything shakes. Rule 4, measure your life by depth, not applause. This man wasn't running for fame. He was running for the richness of being alive. That's depth. Depth is doing the right thing without a crowd. Depth is effort without a guarantee. Depth is living thoroughly even when tomorrow is uncertain. And that's what makes a man dangerous, in the best way. Now, there's a moment in this story that I want you to sit with. He described being in the hospital, late 20s, and everything he thought made him him was gone. No hair, scars, tubes, can't walk, can't move. Anything he'd ever been good at, he wasn't good at anymore. And he realized the voice was still there. Same voice, same mind, same self. So he saw it. If your identity is built on temporary features, you are one disaster away from losing yourself. That's why so many men collapse when they lose a job. They didn't lose money, they lost their identity. That's why so many men spiral after a breakup. They didn't lose a person, they lost their mirror. That's why so many men stay addicted. They don't know who they are without the numbness. So they keep escaping, and the years go by. Let me say this clearly. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's the daily proof that you're not a slave. Not a slave to cravings. Not a slave to anger. Not a slave to comfort. Not a slave to fear. Not a slave to someday. A man with cancer built self-respect with a mile. You can build it with whatever your mile is, but you have to choose it. Because nobody is coming to choose it for you. Eventually his streak ended. Not because he quit, because his body hit a wall. The tumors grew again. The chemo crushed him again. And the running had to stop. But here's the part most men miss. The streak was never the point. The man it created was the point. Because even if the mile ends, the identity remains. That's what you're building, not a habit, a man. He talked about how his mother stayed in hospitals with him, how his brother sacrificed so much, how he couldn't imagine surviving without guidance, without God. Let that remind you, you are not alone in your fight, but you are responsible for your effort. You can receive love and still be lazy. You can be blessed and still drift. Grace is not permission to waste your life. Grace is fuel to rebuild it. And rebuilding is always a daily choice, not a mood, not an announcement, not a New Year's resolution, a daily choice. Near the end, he describes something almost poetic. He was on a CT scan machine, dark room, not moving, and he heard music, cello. He got off and told the technician, "Man, it's so cool you had cello music playing." And the guy said, "There was no music planned." And he said, "The music is always playing. Sometimes you just have to listen harder." That's not just a pretty line, that's a discipline line. Because when life is heavy, most men stop listening. They numb, they distract, they complain, they collapse. But discipline trains your mind to find meaning again. It trains you to hear the music through the noise. So here's your takeaway. Not inspiration, execution. Today, choose your mile. Write it down. Make it small enough to do even on your worst day. Then make it sacred. And from today on, stop negotiating. Because one day, whether you like it or not, your streak will end. Your youth will end. Your season will end. Your opportunity will end. And when that day comes, the only question that matters is this: did you live shallow or did you live deep? The music is playing. Are you listening? Now comment one word, mile, if you're making your pact today.